Hi, good afternoon, guys. It is 1 p.m. It is Monday, and I'm meteorologist Alexandra Cranford, and we are talking today about more weather topics, or I should say science topics, because today is not so much weather related, but more astronomy related. So what we're talking about today is constellations. I thought, you know what, yesterday was so cloudy and gloomy, and it was a little bit, of course, quite windy, and it was warm. We hit a record high. Today we have this beautiful weather again after those storms yesterday, especially very strong storms farther north of us, unfortunately, for much of Mississippi and into Georgia and parts of Alabama. But where we were, we really have just gotten this influx of some slightly less humid air that will be filtering in tonight, and then we will feel some cooler mornings by the middle of the week, especially by Wednesday and Thursday mornings. We may have some 40s north of the lake briefly around sunrise and 50s south. So with all of this very nice, pleasant, and mostly clear weather, I thought, let's talk about stars, because a lot of us are looking for some things to do at home. If you're a student joining me, or if you're a parent or a guardian who has your kids kind of thinking about ideas, this one I think is really fun, and I hope you like it too. This one is about constellations. So tonight, with our night sky, we're expecting mostly clear skies. So I don't know if you have been out and about, maybe late, not supposed to be super out and about, but if you're just going on your porch or your yard and looking up at the lights, the night sky, there have been some beautiful stars. And so tonight would be a great night to get an idea about what kind of constellations are up there. I think it is so beautiful. To me, the night sky is so gorgeous, and I discovered something, and you may know about this, called a star chart or a star map, but there's this kind of cool thing that you can do called a star wheel. So this is from the website Sky and Telescope, and actually if you want a link to it, you can go to my page, Alexandra Cranford. It's already up there, and you can just click on it. It is printable, and there are two parts to it, and it ends up looking like this. Has anyone made something like this before? You may have made it in school. I have not. Well, I had not made this until maybe a year or two ago, and I started getting really interested in the night sky, and this is just like a really fun thing that you can do, and if you're a student, this would be a lot of fun to create for yourself. There are also apps for this, so for the night sky, those can be really useful and very interesting. You can just point it up at the sky and it tells you what it is, but if you wanted to make your own map, so you can kind of track how things change throughout the year and throughout even just the night, this can be a really cool thing. So again, this is as easy as going to my page, clicking on that link, and then printing out these couple of parts from Sky and Telescope, which, you know, of course does a really great job providing this. So what you would do if you do click on that link is you would print out these two pages. That's it. You just need a printer and two different pieces of paper, and you should be good. What you will do first is just cut around the outline here for the star wheel, and you would cut along the bottom here. Make sure that you would cut here instead of here. So just cut it out, all the white border around it, and then you would cut out the center. And then you would also cut out on the second page just the circle around the night sky with all these beautiful constellations. So you would end up, after you print these two out, cut out your pieces, you end up with these two pieces. And what you would do, of course, is take the little white part that was underneath and you fold it up behind the star wheel, the night sky with the times, and then you would staple it. You can see it has little spots where you can staple it. And then you take your night sky with the constellations, and all you do is just kind of slide it in here. It creates a little pocket, a little envelope, and you can just slide it in. The cool thing about this, and if it looks a little complicated, it's really not, I assure you, but you can track with the month and with the date, and then you would correspond it to the time that you're looking at. So for example, if I'm going outside tonight, at 8 p.m., I would look at this part of the star wheel, and I would turn the wheel around until I find April 13th. And this, let's see, at 8 p.m. would be what our night sky looks like. So I just think this is so fascinating. Again, you may have a cool app for this. You may have an app and want a star wheel, but to me this is really fun. You can see how it changes throughout the night. You can see what would happen if you went out on a different night and you would see what's available to you. And of course, there are different ways to face. This would be if you're facing south, you could turn it upside down if you're facing north and see what constellations are visible to you that way. So again, this is on my Facebook page if you want to download this, or just click on the link and then print out the 2 pages. All you need is the 2 pages that you printed, and then you would just cut out these parts and overlap them to make this little star wheel. So again, this is really fun for me, and yes, as an adult, as a meteorologist for 10 years or so, I do have one of these that I gladly take outside and nerdily kind of look at the sky and kind of see what the constellations are. While we're talking about constellations, I wanted to talk about just a couple of them, so you can go outside and look at these yourself tonight. Of course, that's the whole point of this particular weather lesson or science lesson, is that you are in control and you can do it. But I did just want to point out a couple of my favorite constellations and some of the ones that you might see tonight, especially if you're a student and you have not seen some of these. These can be really gorgeous. So the idea with these constellations is that there are all these different stars, and people have decided that they all align in certain ways, and they have given them names going back a really, really long time. So to me, one of the most recognizable is Orion, and that is probably true for a lot of adults who are watching, or people, of course, who are familiar with this. And the big thing is the Orion's belt. Orion is a hunter in Greek mythology. That's where it got its name. On the one side, it has a shield. So the idea is just kind of that this is the rough outlook of the hunter Orion, and the easy thing to spot again is the 3 stars in a line, very close together, and very bright also, a couple of the stars especially. So this would be one constellation that's very easy to see and that you can see tonight in the night sky. And if you have your star wheel handy, you can see exactly what times you can see it tonight, and when it will stop being visible overnight as well. Another one that I really like is embedded within the constellation Taurus, and this is the Pleiades. I really like this one. This is a little star cluster. It's very small, but my eye is always kind of drawn to it, and I think it's really pretty. It's one of the nearest star clusters to Earth. It can also be, it has some other names like Seven Sisters, and again, it's within a bigger constellation, Taurus, but to me, again, my eye just goes whoop, right to the Pleiades, and it is really pretty. Actually, to me, it looks like a little rosary, if you're familiar with that. That's what I see when I see the Pleiades, and it's just a beautiful kind of smallish stars and a very small little petite thing to see in the sky. And then another one that it always jumps out to me, and notice I'm staying away from the Big and Little Dippers, which are very beautiful and recognizable as well. But you've probably heard about those, but this is Cassiopeia. So this one also is one that's very recognizable, very well known. These are some of the most recognizable and easily identifiable ones in the night sky. So I just wanted to touch on a couple of them. And this one has this very distinctive sort of M shape or W shape, depending on which way you are viewing it in the night sky. And so Cassiopeia, also named from Greek mythology, was a very, vain but beautiful queen. And so that is the constellation named for her. So that, I think, will do it for this quick little weather lesson where we're talking about constellations. We covered just a few of them. And then, of course, we talked about the star wheel. Again, as easy as just printing out 2 different pieces of paper, doing a tiny bit of cutting, and then stapling. So if you have those things, again, this would be a great thing if you have kids who are interested in stars, and if you want to just be able to go outside and kind of take in the beautiful stars and then actually, learn a little bit about them. Again, I am a full adult and I love looking at this, and it may be a kid thing, I don't know, but I think it's so much fun. So if you're an adult and you want to do this, I like this too. In fact, sometimes I nerdily will go for a little walk quickly outside. I mean, not really so much in these times, but I will nerdily turn around and say, oh, I forgot my star wheel. And I go back and get my star wheel because it's just so much fun to look up and just kind of see exactly what's happening in the night sky. So thank you guys for joining me on this quick little weather lesson. Tomorrow, I think we're going to be talking about rainbows, and then later this week, we will be baking again for another science lesson. So I hope you guys can join me for those, especially, of course, students joining me. I hope you can make it. Again, rainbows are so beautiful. We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll do some baking later this week, and we will continue with our weather lessons. So I'm seeing your comments pop up. Yes, people are talking about some topics. Mary's asking about clouds and fog. Mary, actually, I already covered both of those in weather lessons. You can find these, by the way, especially, they are a little bit hard to find because they're live videos, you know, from WWL TV. But if you go to my Facebook page, Alexandra Cranford, and it's my official, you know, meteorologist page, you can scroll down and you can see the different weather lessons that I've shared. So there is one on clouds and there is one on fog. And I know we did have a bit of fog even in South Louisiana early this morning. And you're saying in Florida, there are some of the foggy conditions as well. So we did cover both of those already in these weather lessons. So I'm glad that you thought those would be good topics. And we already talked a little bit about that. So if you go to my page, scroll down, you can find some links to the old weather lessons. We've been doing these, for maybe 2 or 3 weeks now. So thank you guys for joining me for these. I really appreciate it. I love to see you guys pop up with your comments and especially to show me where you're watching from. And it's really fun to be able to hang out with you guys in these afternoons where hopefully a lot of kids are at home, maybe just had lunch, looking for something to do. So tonight you have something to do for sure. And I'm going to take out my star wheel tonight too because we have those clear skies. So I'm going to go out there and take a look. Seeing more comments pop up, baking is a good way to teach, says Robert Trudeau. I agree, and I'm really excited about being able to do that. And of course, as we all know, in quarantine times, it's also a fun way to pass the time and also a fun way to enjoy something good to eat eventually, whether it's with dinner or breakfast the next day or whatever, whenever you feel like eating your baked goods. So that'll do it for now, guys. I hope you have a great rest of the afternoon. I will see you again tomorrow. We'll be doing the new newscast. We're doing those live from home, of course, at this point, really for the next several weeks. And then we will be hopping on Facebook Live at 1 p.m. once again. Oh, great. Okay. 6-year-old from Slidell. Great to see you guys. Thank you for joining me. And again, hope you have a great rest of the day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.